Don't look now. The Bears are on a win streak. Welcome on in to the Bear Report podcast. I'm Steven Johnson. He is Zach Pearson. Zach, I tell you, it was a roller coaster of emotions for a Monday night football game between the Bears and the Commanders. But despite all odds and despite everything that probably could have gone wrong going wrong, a much more welcoming outcome than a year ago when the Bears visited the nation's capital. 25-24, Bears third straight win, improving to 3-2 on the year. Oh man, feeling a lot better. Better.
I mean, man, even though like it was a one-score game throughout, it just kind of felt like the Bears, it was going to be another one of those games where the Bears can't close it out. They're going to get a loss. They're going to be 2-3, and then bam, they hit with a big play, 55-yard touchdown. They don't get the 2-pointer, and you're still like, all right, we've seen this before. The Commanders get that third and 15 or third and long they picked up on that drive. Yeah, and you're like, yep, this is it. And then for whatever reason, shotgun run and they fumble it. And even when they're in field goal range, I'm like, I know what's happening. Jake Moody's going to get blocked. It's going to get tipped, whatever, something. But man, these are not the same old Bears in terms of that stuff happening as so far this season.
Yeah, to say the least, it is a new era, and apparently whatever Ben Johnson is preaching, the Bears are buying. If there is one thing to be said about what this team has accomplished over these last 3 weeks and some heart-pounding games, obviously the Washington game, the most heart-pounding to this point in time, and we're going to break it all down here in the recap of Week 6 of this just wild game. And there's so many different ways we can start this, but I think where we really need to, and it really was the tone setter for the entire game, was the defense. Again, the talk in the preseason, the talk in the first couple games, they can't get the turnovers, they can't get the takeaways, they're not impacting the ball and forcing the offense into mistakes. For the second straight week, there are 3 turnovers on the board that the defense forces, and just incredible play all around. Jaquan Brisker, the fumble recoveries. There was a possibility there was even another one in there. The ball was slippery. It was rainy. It was wet. But the Bears took advantage, and all of a sudden, you're going from, okay, this isn't that formidable of a defense, to there's some stride being hit right now with how this whole unit is meshing. And I gotta say, it feels good to see them coming together and hitting where they need to hit in terms of what this entire talent base of a defense is for the Bears.
Yeah, 3 takeaways, 13 points off those takeaways, 2 right away in the first quarter. What Ben Johnson saying in his post-game presser, it was something like, turnovers aren't luck, they're earned. They got the second most takeaways in the NFL this season, behind only the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I believe the Jaguars played an extra game. So I think Jacksonville has 14. I think the Bears have 12. Those turnovers, they were key. They were in key spots. You get the red zone takeaway with Jaquan Brisker. And I want to make note of this. Jayden Daniels was late with that ball. If he's on time, that's a touchdown. He was late. And if that was Caleb Williams smiling after that throw and being late, oh my God, we'd still be talking. It'd be the end of the world. But they get the key takeaway in the red zone. They get another key takeaway as the Commanders are going down for a drive. And then at the end, the Commanders pretty much get that first down. It's almost game over, or it's a punt and you have a long field to work with. The ball falling out of Jayden Daniels' hands. And I mean, Nahshon Wright, getting called for a couple penalties, 1 or 2 maybe tic-tac. But for him to be right there and fall on that football was kind of just a sign of maybe the ball doesn't lie on a couple of those penalties. But you're right, man. They did a good job slowing down the run for a little bit. They got the takeaways. They got a pass rush. Montez Sweat in the second half, on one of those drives at the end, he had 2 plays where he tipped the pass and then he got pressure on another play. The defense came to play. And honestly, I think they took it personal from what happened with last year and how they lost in that Hail Mary. And, I mean, like I said, they came to play and they had a big impact on this game.
And Ben Johnson had said, like, we're not worried about last year. I wasn't here last year. Like, yeah, you're right. You weren't here last year, but pretty much everybody else was. That being the big key is that they needed to get that figured out, and they did get it figured out. And again, I think, like you mentioned, for Montez Sweat and for this defensive line, I think there were, over the course of the bye, just a lot of people asking questions of whether or not this unit had what it took to make an impact and get after the quarterback. And I mean, honestly, there were quite a few times they probably should have had Jayden Daniels down, and because of his elusive ability, he sped off. He picked up some major gains. It was the Jayden Daniels that I think every Bears fan was really concerned about heading into that matchup, and they did just enough to contain him, allowing not only the secondary but the linebackers to thrive. And with what the defense was able to put together as, again, a full phase performance. It wasn't just one guy that stood out that just dominated the whole game. That was everybody. And getting guys back like TJ Edwards and allowing Tremaine Edmonds to use his athleticism more in impactful zones, and Kyler Gordon in the secondary. Yeah, very frustrating that he had the offsides penalty where he lined up in the neutral zone, but you could tell what his impact meant to that secondary in the pass game. And yes, Washington was missing some of their key receivers, but they didn't let the passing game get in the way of causing them to fall apart, which we've seen numerous times with this team, and especially those first 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah, I mean, outside what they had the breakdown, the busted coverage, which led to an easy, wide open touchdown for Jayden Daniels. Other than that, I mean, the defense played pretty damn well. The penalties were kind of an issue. The drives, 4 drives, I believe, were extended on third down due to a penalty. But Ben Johnson even said, we've been dealing with this since, training camp. We got to kind of figure this out. But yeah, I mean, the defense really showed up and played well, and getting TJ Edwards back was huge. Although you do lose Noah Sewell now with a concussion for a little bit, but getting Kyler Gordon back and having him out there as another defensive back, you can just tell the impact that they made on this defense. And, I thought Dennis Allen did a really good job with his coverages and disguising the blitzes. They kind of had a couple blitzes come late. On the play, they sacked Jayden Daniels on that final drive. Looked like Kyler Gordon came on a blitz. Gervon Dexter got there. Dominique Robinson had a nice play. The one play I couldn't figure out was it a third down or a fourth down where they had Dominique Robinson covering the running back as a linebacker, and I had no clue what was going on there.
I mean it. There was also, let's be real, there was something that probably should have been called as offensive pass interference for the pick. But yes, not ideal, regardless of pick or not.
It just made no sense to me why he was out there.
No, not at all. That was definitely a mismatch that the Commanders took advantage of and were able to, convert on. But yeah, it was welcoming that, again, a Commanders team that just came out from a West Coast trip and beat the LA Chargers rather handily, mind you, a very good Chargers team.
Yeah.
That is a statement for the Bears to go into a relatively strong environment on a primetime stage, and for the second time this year, picking up a victory on the road. I mean, the Bears have more road victories than home victories right now, which is crazy to say, all things considered, because, again, this was a Bears team that had not won an actual road game in years.
Yeah. I forgot about that stat. Yeah. Because they won in London, right? Yeah. They won in. Yeah. I mean, well, and doing it 25-24, the same exact score. This time, They got the field goal at the end. Special teams made a big play. To me, it felt like, this team is learning how to win, and like they get the gritty win over the Raiders, a game that, very easily could have lost. They get a win here. They get a little redemption, revenge, if you want to say that. And it felt like it was a game that the old Bears would have lost. There was no chance, no matter how well they played at the end, and everything just kind of fell into place for them there. And, you need these wins. You need to start building this culture. And I think we can already see the impact of Ben Johnson. Like, I know I said, like, yeah, it felt like, it was a 1-score game, and it kind of felt like the Bears were going to blow this. But like on some of those drives, Ben Johnson was dialing up some pace. And you watch him, and it doesn't feel like this team doesn't have a chance ever. I guess like the Detroit game, it felt like, that one's over.
Out of line very
quickly. Yeah. But you trust them. Like when they get the ball on offense, I'm like, wow, they actually have a legit chance to score, whether it's a field goal or a touchdown, just because of what Ben Johnson can dial up. And then, the situations he puts Caleb Williams in, the run game too, man. I think we got to talk about that. DeAndre Swift, 7.7 yards a carry, over 150, 160 scrimmage yards, had the long 55-yard touchdown, breaks a tackle. Man, hats off to him. That was a big game for him. And finally, the run game gets going. When honestly the Bears needed to the most, because it was a wet game out there, a lot of rain, a little windy. They needed that run game to get going, and it finally did.
Yeah, it's I have to imagine that was one of the key components to this bye week was, okay, how do we get this run game going? And a lot of the talk being, is this a running back room that makes sense to keep moving forward with as is? We saw Roschon Johnson get carries. He only had one, but he was getting snaps on the field. And then DeAndre Swift, it was just a different style of running game for this team. A lot of outside zone runs that Ben Johnson continued to dial up, and everything just worked. It worked to perfection, and there was just no stopping him. And it's like after that last fumble at midfield that set the Bears up for the opportunity to go down and get in scoring position, there was nothing that was going to stop DeAndre Swift from running that ball with success. And that's exactly what happened. He had 5 touches on that last drive, a fantastic ending to that game, and just an overall, arguably one of his best games, if not his best game as a Bear, for the impact that he had in making sure that they came out of Washington with a victory. And, I gotta say, in using that type of run setup, the offensive line having probably their best game of the season, hands down. Darnell Wright, the athleticism that he possesses when you get him out there and he hits his blocks, incredible. Theo Benedict, incredible game. That was not a legal formation.
Yeah,
that was a terrible BS call.
That was terrible.
I digress. But again, same thing. They are running. They are doing whatever they wanted. There was nothing that was going to stop the Bears from running the ball. And the offensive line was just incredible. I'm like, is this real life? Is this happening? That all of a sudden an undrafted free agent from a year ago is your left tackle, and he looks like he's your, run-of-the-mill NFL starter that can get it done.
Yeah, they usually say, if you're not being talked about as an offensive tackle, that's usually a good thing, right? And I don't remember any time where I saw Theo get just absolutely dominated. Maybe once he got pushed back, maybe. I don't remember, but he played really well. Darnell Wright on that last drive where, man, that play where Swift took it to the right side, the pitch, and he goes down that right sideline, and Darnell kind of gets his hands on one defender and then cleans out another one. I mean, that was by far Darnell Wright's best game of his career. He was elite last night. He looked like a legit franchise right tackle. He was really good in the pass game. He was really good in the run game, run blocking. And then you have Theo Benedict on the other side making plays and holding his ground as, like you said, an undrafted free agent. After all offseason talk with the left tackle. You make the switch and the offensive line, clicks like that. Joe Thuney is grading out as one of the best guards in all of football, right or left side. He hasn't been called for a penalty. He's been fantastic. And then Drew Dahlman looks better. I mean,
yep,
he looks like a guy. Like earlier on, I kind of felt like he had some struggles with Caleb Williams, but man, he looks better as the weeks are going on. The one I'm kind of a little worried about still is Jonah Jackson. I think, he's kind of got to iron out some things. But man, the offensive line, this is what we had envisioned going into the season, what the offensive line would look like, what Ben Johnson's offense would look like, a good mix of the run, a good mix of the pass. I asked Ben Johnson today in the presser, I asked him about the tackles, and he mentioned about the run game himself, saying he charted the Bears at 69% efficiency rating for running the football, which he said was by far the highest mark they've had this season. I thought it was like 85%, but man, the rush offense looked good, and it was also Kyle Monangai. I mean, he had a couple of nice runs, and if it wasn't runs, him and Swift both had nice catches. I mean, there was that little screenplay where Caleb got the ball out quick, and Monangai took it, 20, 25 yards. So, yeah, I mean, that's what this offense is supposed to look like, a good run game complementing a really good pass game with what Caleb Williams is doing right now.
Yeah, and I mean, even beyond that, and seeing the plays that aren't necessarily going to show up on the stat sheet for this offense as well. Again, like you mentioned, Caleb Williams, and overall looking at his stat line from Monday night, 17 of 29 for 252 yards and a touchdown. Was sacked 3 times. It's good for a 98.6 quarterback rating. So respectable overall. Probably could have been over 300 had Zaccheaus not dropped a pass that hit him square in the chest with wide open field ahead of him.
He's running to Chicago with that ball. Did you see the replay? I want to look at the oh my God. I want to look at the all 22. I don't think there was anyone like even 40 yards on that hash. I think everyone was totally on the other side of the field. And I mean, that one hit him right in the chest. And yeah, I know Troy Aikman was like trying to blame Caleb Williams on that. That's a flat out drop. I mean, that's just a flat out drop. That was crazy. Like, I don't know. Like, I guess you can maybe argue should have let him, but it felt like the ball was right there for him. So yeah, Zaccheaus, that was a big one. And I mean, look, man, Caleb Williams, 2 interceptions on the year in 5 games, 10 total sacks so far in 5 games, only 2 per game, which is pretty good compared to what we saw last year. 68, 69-ish around there in 17 games. I mean, you do the math on that. That's what almost
he's cut it in half.
Yeah, that's 4 a game.
That's essentially what's occurred.
Yeah, and it's been and hats off to Ben Johnson and hats off to Caleb Williams. Like, I still think there are some things that Caleb Williams get better at. Like he missed Roma Dunze on that first deep shot. That's an easy touchdown. But I didn't think he was as inaccurate as Troy Aikman was trying to make it sound like. And dude, what's weird? It's like Troy's done a couple of these Bears games already. And I remember, I mean, I don't know. You listened to the week 1, right? He sounded positive about Caleb Williams. And now all of a sudden he's like, this guy stinks. He sounded mad.
Yeah, it was a very interesting choice of words throughout the night. There was also a pass play out to the left where Caleb stepped up outside the pocket and just bulleted a throw to Zaccheaus that sailed over his head. And I think seeing things like that gives people pause that he's not hitting the wide open players. And there were a couple other notes that were made regarding him maybe not going with and maybe him not going with the best option in the pass game when he's going through his reads, which again we know is one of the things that he has continued to struggle with here over the course of his early career. But again, this is also somebody that has the athleticism, that has continued to stick in there, who has shown that he has the ability to will this team back into situations to win the game. Again, another game-winning drive, another one. This is 5 now in his career. that he is just
Six.
6. Thank you.
Six.
I
Yeah,
see.
they
I'm,
haven't won
I'm
all of them.
undercutting him. I'm like Troy Aikman.
Well, I
you
think
know,
it was 6 in the last 19 games or something like that.
right.
He's
And
had
like,
a game go-ahead drive. Yeah.
like that is significant. Like that is serious.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that people need to put into perspective. Yeah, 252 yards and a touchdown. It's not going to wow you by any means when I think it was a 58% completion percentage is what it ended up being, the 17 for 29. But it's the fact that when the game is on the line, Caleb Williams is commanding the offense and he is putting them in positions to win. And the Bears have not had that in a very, very long time. And it feels fantastic that when the lights are brightest, he is brightest.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. Like when you compare him to Jayden Daniels and, you compare him to Drake May, and like Drake May is having an incredible year. Like he's having a really good year, but like when you watch them, they're hitting those deep throws. You know what I mean? Like that's, I think, what everyone wants to see. And yeah, Caleb has to be better on that. We know that. He played well enough to win you that game, and he did not turn the football over. You look at Jayden Daniels, he had two turnovers of his own in the game. Yep. So yeah, the completion percentage, I think that was a little down, and you look at May and Daniels, and even Penix had a nice game, but yeah, I think that's where Caleb Williams has to get better at. And he will. I mean, it's going to take time. This is year one under Ben Johnson, but we're already seeing like significant improvements from what we saw a year ago, where like there was no flow to the offense at all.
No.
Like there's at least flow to this offense. And then you watch like the athleticism and the throw to Luther Burden where he's kind of stepping up in the pocket and delivering a strike. And you're like, wow, okay. Like now if he could just hit a couple of these short ones, like he wouldn't get criticized, but he's starting to hit those. It's just the Roma Dunze miss is going to be talked about, but yeah, I think he's getting better, and getting that run game going definitely is going to help him.
And the other thing, too, with that is seeing these younger guys make the impact that they are. They got to get Luther Burden on the field more often. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. That like he just has that spark about him, and we saw it on that long catch and run.
Those moves, man.
Yeah, it's just wild. And then Colston Loveland, just the sure-handedness of Colston Loveland coming up with that big third down conversion to keep that last drive going to get them in field goal range was big. And to see him build off of that and move forward, for the Bears to now be on a 3-game winning streak, and for this schedule and where it is currently at, we looked at this at the beginning of the year and said, okay, Washington's going to be tough. That's probably a loss. They come out of it with a win.
Yeah.
I think we all marked the New Orleans Saints game as a victory when we went over these schedules. But then you look beyond that. At the Ravens, at the Bengals, at home against the Giants. Those 3 games are looking significantly different than what they were at the beginning of the year. The Ravens have won 1 game this year.
Yeah.
They have looked terrible. Their defense is dead last in the NFL. The Ravens.
Yeah. And they're hurt too. But I mean, if Lamar, who should be back, if he plays, I think that changes. It changes some things.
It does. I mean, it's going to be a challenge for him, but at the same time, that defense is not going to be healthy. Roquan Smith is probably not going to play in that game.
Yeah.
And so that is the key cog to that defense. He is the same guy that he was here in Chicago, going from sideline to sideline and making sure that nothing gets by him. The Bengals, I mean, Joe Flacco is now their starting QB. Yeah, you still have to deal with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, but
the defense is awful.
The defense is awful. Again, the Giants, Cam Scatterboo is going to continue to be a crayon eater and just run it down your throat. But again, that's a very young team.
Yeah.
And so now
you're at home too.
Right. And then you're at the Vikings. You want the revenge against the Vikings. Those are your next 5 games.
Let me ask you this. Do you feel, this is how I kind of feel on this. I feel more worried about the Giants game than I do the Bengals game, which was reversed going into the season. You felt the Bengals game was tougher. You felt like the Giants game was going to be all right, chalk up as a W. I feel like the Bengals is more of a more confident in the win now than the Giants.
I mean, the Bengals put up a fight against Green Bay for Joe Flacco only being in Cincinnati for a week in getting those practices with that team. That's going to be a much different game, I think, come 3 weeks from now, in terms of what they're bringing to the field. But at the same time, I do believe. I mean, again, the Giants are one of those scrappy, desperate teams almost.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen it with Brian Daboll, where, I mean, he's illegally going into the blue medical tent to pull guys out and ruin concussion protocol that's being investigated. Like, that is how much of a right. Yeah. I mean, he's a psychopath to a point. And that's something that is a dangerous thing on a football field, especially when your team buys into that mentality, especially coming off a win against the Super Bowl champions. Like that in itself, like, that is a morale booster. And so who knows where they're going to be in 4 weeks when they come to town to take on the Bears. But these 5 games, Saints, Ravens, Bengals, Giants, Vikings, a part of me will be, frankly, significantly disappointed based on where this team is at and the confidence level that they are coming in with and what these teams are struggling with, that if they are anything less than 4-1, I'm going to be kind of disappointed.
Yeah, I think 3-2 I'm fine with, because that puts you at what, 6-4?
Yeah.
But it would also depend on who they lost to. You know what I mean? Like, if they lost to Saints and Giants, I'd be like, oh, all right. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, yeah, 4-1 would be great. They'd be 7-3, put themselves in a position to be right there.
Yeah.
The back part of that schedule is so damn tough. Yeah, it's so damn tough. But I mean, yeah, 4-1 would be incredible. I think it's doable too. I could very easily see them beating, the Saints, the Giants, the Bengals, and the Vikings, and losing to the Ravens, or losing to the Vikings and beating the Ravens, depending on what Lamar's health is.
Right.
3-2, I think it's not. I'm not danger zone or anything like that. If they anything below 3-2 for me, I'm like, whoa, okay, something's gone wrong. Like, but the NFL, man, it's a week to week league. You just don't know. Like, right. You honestly don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, they've put themselves in a position now where, like, go get a seat at the table, or be in line to get a seat at the table. Like, we haven't felt this excitement to be like this close. Last year, you kind of felt it with that start, but then it just totally tanked and went downhill. I feel more confident now. And like I said, they're learning to win. They're winning these scrappy games. They're doing what they have to do to win these games. But yeah, these next 5, man, will be very interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that really is the importance of picking up that win on Monday night, though, is the fact that you found a way to take advantage of the opportunities that were given to you, despite things not necessarily going well. Like, again, the illegal formation on Benedict that erased the Odunze touchdown on what was a fantastic throw from Caleb Williams and catch from Odunze to make sure he came down with it. The offensive pass interference early on in the game that negated a drive. It's situations in which the Bears are, again, like you said, finding ways to win. And I think it's nice, because every week when we get those Instagram videos and we get those social media videos of Ben Johnson in the locker room post victory, and he does that good, better, best, like, it just jacks me
up. My wife sent me that this morning, and she's like, I'm ready to run through a brick wall. And she went to bed because it was too late last night. But dude, you're right. Like, the culture is totally different. Do you remember, like, I think it was 2 years ago I think it was 2 years ago, the Bears won a game, and Matt Eberflus had a list of, like, things that they, like, tried to accomplish. I don't know. You remember that stupid list with them? Do you remember that? If not, go look at that. And I'm like, what? Yeah, what is this? Like, what are we doing here? It's a total culture change. Like watching that video, you see DeAndre Swift getting that game ball, and Kevin Warren's there excited. Ryan Poles is excited. Everyone's excited. It kind of sucks that they're in the only division that has everyone above 500 right now. But also, talk about winning games. Look where they were after week 1 and week 2. I mean, we probably thought this. You could go back and look at that Lions recap that we did, and you and I were both like, this is what the hell is going on? Yeah.
Yeah.
And like looking at week 1, I mean, they're one bad quarter, one Darnell Wright penalty, one Cairo Santos missed field goal, one Caleb Williams missed throw, one crazy JJ McCarthy quarter from being 4-1. And imagine going into this 5-game stretch right now at 4-1, essentially tied for first place in the NFC North. But they've won these games. Like they very easily could have laid down to Dallas. Like they could have let Dallas run all, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
man, they're winning close games that they should be winning.
And now to, come back home with a reeling Saints team on the other sideline is a good opportunity for them to continue moving forward and move to 4-2. I think even, at the beginning of the season, talking about that early Lions game and even talking about this Commanders game, that there was talk that, they probably will be 3-2 at this point. It just didn't happen in the way that I think a lot of people thought it would. And on top of that, it's happened in a much better way for the fact that the confidence is growing at such an exponential rate from where we were, like you said, after week 2 in a blowout that just had everybody wondering, okay, this guy is a 2nd-round draft pick. This guy's a 3rd-round draft pick. This guy's a 4th-round draft pick, and they're healthy scratches. Yeah. And it made you question everything that was going on. And then all of a sudden you see these guys making an impact in 2-3 weeks that make you say, okay, maybe this actually is going to work and things look to be moving in the right direction. And it makes you feel good that that's happening. Shemar Turner had a pretty darn good game in some limited time last night too. Came up with a very key tackle in the run game in that last drive. And so you're starting to see things come together. Yeah. And again, it's great timing. Absolutely great timing. I gotta see it continue. I think it will continue. I'm back on the wagon of having that faith about it. But man, it feels weird. It's been a long time, I think, since anybody's really felt this way about how the Bears are winning games and what that culture is in the locker room, because we're seeing it firsthand.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you said it, man. It's been a long time. It feels like there's confidence building. And that's all you can ask for, in mid-October. Like that's what it is at this point. And, for all the struggles they had in training camp with the penalties, and you saw that in preseason and then early in the season, to be where they're at right now, 3-2, a 5-game stretch where, they could flip to be 3-2 in that stretch and be 6-4 and put yourself right there, or even better, 4-1. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm happy. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but I feel like something good is starting to brew. Don't look past the Saints though. That's the only thing. We got to focus on the Saints too.
Yeah, Raheem Shaheed will burn right by you, as will Chris Olave, and Alvin Kamara is still a force to be reckoned with. So
Dennis Allen, a little bit of a redemption game here.
I think the defense is going to come to play for him, which is going to be the feel-good thing about this game more than anything. I'm expecting another big day out of this defense come Sunday, but we'll find out if that indeed does happen. It is a string of noon games coming up for the Bears. Finally. Their next 6 games are at noon on Sundays. So it is just boom, 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 boom in a row.
Goodness.
So we'll stay out of the primetime light for now. Who knows? Flexes happen, and we'll see what else happens. But New Orleans on the horizon for the Bears come week number 7, as it will be a noon game at Soldier Field on Fox on the 19th. So that's going to do it for this episode of the Bear Report podcast, recapping the Bears' 25-24 victory over the Washington Commanders. We will be back later this week previewing the Saints-Bears matchup and see what exactly the Bears need to do to come out with a 4-2 record in week number 7. For Zach Pearson, I'm Steven Johnson. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next time right here on the Bear Report and BearReport.com. Take care.